Hi, Tim Sales here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about I'm not a salesperson. So you sent a video or you sent some information to somebody, they reply back and say, yeah, I'm not a salesperson. That's what I'm going to talk about here. All right, so when I first got information about network marketing, I wasn't a salesperson. Even though my last name was Sales, I wasn't a salesperson, all right? I was a student, I was a welder, I was a wrestler. Sales was not in that category, all right? My guidance counselor suggested specific professions for me, all right? Based upon what? Student, wrestler, or welder and wrestler, right? In other words, I've always had this struggle with IQ versus competency. In other words, you go in, you take a test on subjects that you don't know, and they determine how smart you are, as opposed to that same person that might score 120, 130 can't clean the pipes in their bathroom. In other words, like they're going to call a plumber because they don't know how to even find the back of the pipes. You know what I mean? And so, so anyway, my guidance counselor suggested my future based upon what I had already done. All right. And then another thing I want to talk to you about here is American history versus this guidance counselor. So I get very fascinated in studying history. Not in school. I didn't do very well in school, and I didn't understand history, but I absolutely adore it now. There was a book that I read called The Empire of the Summer Moon, and it was extremely fascinating to me. And so I want to bring this in because it will really take you backwards a little bit and go, wow, okay, now I get something that I didn't get before. So if you can imagine being, let's say, a Comanche Indian, and that you didn't want to hunt. Well, what happens? You don't eat. If you didn't want to clean a buffalo, well, what happened? Well, it wouldn't have been a pretty sight. And so the whole point is that throughout history, people have done whatever it was that they needed in order to survive. Okay? In today's age, we still need to do that, but it's slightly different in that you can do something that gives you abundance. You can give something that allows you to, excuse me, live anywhere in the world that you want to live. It gives you the ability to create a large amount if you wanted to, survival, if you will. So that to me is just absolutely amazing. And my guidance counselor never had this in mind. He didn't say, what are your goals? What he said is that based upon whatever test they gave me, that you're more inclined in this direction. And so, so what I'm trying to really say to you here is that you can do whatever you want based upon whatever future you want, is what my real message here is. So my primary message is that you can reinvent yourself anytime and every time you decide to. It doesn't matter if you, let's say that you went to school, you got you became a doctor. It doesn't mean you always have to be a doctor, right? Even if you spent 10 years in it, even, you know, like I was in the military for a long time, and most of the time when you cross over 11 years, then you're called a lifer. You're going to be in there for life. And I got out in my 12th year, and everybody was like, they couldn't believe it that I'd gone that long. And my dad even said to me, he's like, son, wait it out. You only have another 8 years and you can retire for the rest of your life. And I would say, but Dad, I'm going to retire on half of my base pay. I can't live on 100% of my base pay. Why do I want to stick around? Like, I don't want to endure another 8 years. I want to do it now, right? So I want to go after my dreams. And then earlier decisions persist until you make new decisions. Change your habits and routines. So So that's kind of like where I'm going to go with this is when you change a decision, you have to change your habits and routines. All right. Okay. So I have to show this every single time. But this is the pipeline. It's how anybody gets a customer. And, but it's also, everyone is already doing this pipeline and they don't even know it. So when somebody says, I'm not a salesperson, a lot of times it has to do with that they try to picture themselves doing it. And a lot of times that brings up experiences in their past that cause them to feel as though that they might not be good at it, or that they don't want to, maybe somebody pressured them before and they didn't like that icky feeling and they don't want to be that person. All right. But here's the secret. Everybody's already doing this. Everybody does the pipeline. If you want to get a spouse, you have to do the pipeline. If you want to get somebody to come over for Thanksgiving, you got to do the pipeline. You got to, generate a lead. Normally that they're in your phone. You contact them, text or whatever. You say, hey, we're going to have, dinner. Will you come? All right. And you may have to follow up with them, and then they come to dinner. Right. So everybody's already doing that. In every kind of business is, how does anybody get a job? Well, you're going to have to generate a lead of some place that you can work. You're going to have to contact them. You're going to have to show them your resume and yourself. You're going to have to present to them. Okay. So everybody is already doing the pipeline to do that. How does anyone get an employee, an agent, or a rep? So let's flip this around. Instead of you trying to get a job, if there's an employer out there who wants to get an employee, how do they do it? Well, they're going to have to generate a lead, contact the lead, show them the job offer. You see what I'm saying? In other words, when somebody says, I'm not a salesperson, or I don't want to do sales, a lot of times they need to just be explained to about what is it? What is this thing called sales? Well, it's just the pipeline. It's all it'll ever be. Again, all professions involve sales. It may not be customer acquisition. All right. Sales is simply the communication of an idea or a concept. All right. So speaking of sales, you try to get your kid to do his homework. That's a sales job. More than any selling I've ever done in my life. So you have to get creative in order to communicate with your kid about why it's a good idea to learn history. I'm being a bit of a hypocrite because I didn't enjoy it until later. But now that I enjoy it, I'm able to explain it. So, and again, people sometimes resist wanting to be in sales because they think that it is about convincing somebody to do something against their will, and it's not. All right. Some people do it that way. They try to do it that way. But I myself, no, I'm just looking for the person who already wants the thing that I have. And I'm just trying to find that person. That's it. I'm not trying to convince somebody who doesn't want to do it. Right. But sometimes I do have to explain a couple of things in the process. Right. So I talked about this in a video that I did. It was the very first video that I did a couple of like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it's network marketing success. And training interest is the key because you're trying to learn how to communicate in such a way that a person, like I call unconfused the customer, is my way of selling. In other words, I like to find the confusion that a person has in an area, whether it be weight loss, whether it be health, whether it be anything. I like to find their confusion and help them. It's called consultative selling. And but it's always going to come down, if that's an area for you where you say, you know what, I've just never been good at it. Well, I thought I was really bad at it too. Right? Why? Well, because I went up and asked a girl to dance and she said no. And I didn't like that rejection. And so I thought, I'll never be able to do that. You see? So you get this idea planted somewhere in your head, and you just self-invalidate yourself and say, oh, I can't, I don't like that, I don't want to do that. But it may very well be preventing you from having the type of life that you want. And I don't even remember who that girl was. You see, so she shouldn't get that much credit. One is willing or unwilling to learn communication. It's an important part of life. It's probably, in my opinion, the most vital. All right, it's the most vital thing that you have to be able to do, because we all require others. And it's a difficult thing to understand. And I didn't grow up in a way where I was real social. I didn't have a lot of new people around me or surrounding me. I didn't learn how to go up and start a conversation with people. I didn't know how to acknowledge people when they say something. I didn't know anything. All right. And so therefore I was awkward with it. And I remember it was at a dinner or something like that, where I just remember thinking, they were talking about what do you want to do this year? What's your goal this year? And everybody was going around the table, and I was scared to death. And I was like, what a concept. And so when it got to me, I said, I want to learn how to communicate, because I think it's the key to everything. And why did I say that? Well, because I was sweating the whole time. It was like going person to person to person, because I didn't want to talk out loud. I spoke out loud one time at church, and I thought I was going to faint. Okay. So I didn't know what to look at. I was, my mouth was dry, all that stuff. So anyway, it is a key. If it concerns you that you're not good at it, get good at it. All right. Because I assure you, if you run from this, you're going to keep running from this forever. All right. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you appreciate that I do these videos, give me a thumbs up. Comment down below. You might consider subscribing. Thank you.